It's a beautiful day in Blainville, Quebec for a head-to-head crash test. It's a crash that's never been seen on TV. And this intense-looking man is in charge of making sure it all runs perfectly.
All that work could take, let's say, a few days. And for, let's say, 200 milliseconds, the crash will happen on...
Alain Brussière heads the company running the test.
I think we saved lives.
He's also meticulous about checking every little thing himself.
That will worthy the effort.
Normally, test vehicles are crashed into a solid barrier. That's because it's easier to replicate over and over.
It's a regulatory test. Everyone has to pass the same test, so it must be the same for everyone. In research, we have a little bit more latitude when we try to understand what happens to the occupants.
We want to look at what happens when these two vehicles come together, the amount of crush, and the motion of the vehicles after the crash.
Alain's client is the Canadian government. Suzanne Tilco is their leader on crash testing.
The intention really is to understand what happens during a crash and how best to protect people.
She wants to make sure that everyone who rides in a car is as safe as humanly possible. For today's test, she wants this, the target vehicle, to be hit head-on while going 56 kilometers an hour.
We've done a lot of testing with vehicles at 56 kilometers an hour in a rigid barrier, and it serves as a good baseline for us to compare what we're going to see today.
Meaning this, the bullet vehicle, will head straight for it at 71 kilometers an hour. Why 71? Alain figured that out using a mathematical formula that looks at the energy created by moving objects. By hand, of course.
Kinetic energy formula. Yeah, it's pretty simple.
With their calculations done, they move in the vehicles and carry in the dummies. Not just to test position, but to ideal test position.
We are somewhat fussy about accuracy, and this is 2 pixels wide.
2 pixel detail takes a lot of patience.
If our way of testing is so-so, I mean, how good are the results?
That means this crew of perfectionists even studies what their cameras will show.
We all have different impressions of what a good focus is, so we're...
Maybe, but focus isn't too hard to find around here.
If we are not following procedure exactly, we're done.
This is Suzanne's focus. It's where she gathers invaluable research data.
In the back, we've got the data acquisition boxes. So all of the instrumentations that are in the dummy are fed into these boxes. So immediately after the crash, we're going to download the information.
For Alain, speed and timing all hinge on this, the trolley that hurls the cars toward each other.
During the launch, they will tow the vehicle like this, and at the impact point, we'll stop the trolley, and the vehicle will continue to travel in free run like this, and after that it will unhook itself like this, just prior to impact.
Both cars need exactly 1 meter of free run. Any more, and they would slow down too much. Any less, and they could hit while still tethered, giving a false result. It means both cars must release at precisely the right spot.
The crash range is very critical.
Upstairs in the control room, all the data are plugged into a program.
I need to input the speed, the weight of the vehicle, and the position, so we can hit at the right spot.
Something that can be a bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, kind of.
For now, though,
Attention!
just a test of the track the cars will run on.
That's okay. It's a long preparation, but you never know.
But preparation time is up. Escape routes are opened and marked.
Attention!
The countdown begins. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. .1 seconds. It's a bit shocking to see, but around here, this is success. How do we know?
C'est parfait.
So were the calculations.
The target speed was 71, and we had 71.26. So that's pretty good. The same thing for that one. We aimed 56.0, so 56.14 was perfect. Both vehicles moved like 3 meters, so my estimate was pretty good, in fact.
I was pleased that they hit on target and at the correct speeds, and then I was thrilled to see that all of the cameras stayed on board.
They've given Suzanne a lot of data to go through, more realistic data than she'd get from a traditional test.
If this car was hitting a rigid barrier, it would be coming from 56 to 0 in less than 50 milliseconds. When you have a vehicle that strikes another vehicle, because the other vehicle is softer than a rigid wall and also moves, you have this extra motion, so that means that you've got extra time for people to move forward in the crash.
While we wait to find out those answers, the pictures underline what we do know.
What's key here really is to remember, even though you may be very tired and you have a long car ride, make sure that that seatbelt is over your bony pelvis, down below your belly.
Definitely something to keep in mind even on perfect fall days like this.